answer your question.
Yeah, at the risk of beating, I'm not sure it does. Because when I approved on October 15th, this contract with Bolton and Mink, I'm not seeing any phase described out. Now, it could be buried,
Yeah,
it could be buried in the contract somewhere, but there again, I'm not an attorney. I was kind of under the impression I was getting the full package at $3.3 million for you to handle this. So are there, I guess my follow-up question would be, what else can I expect that you're not gonna do? Or isn't included? I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I am concerned about the total cost of the project.
So just to clarify, Clark, I think the October 15 meeting
Right here, yeah.
was for the phase 3.
Where does it say that?
Was
I
it
mean,
called
maybe I'm missing it.
facility expansion.
Combined-
Previously, I don't know if it was the first October meeting, it might have been last September,
Okay,
is where we approved the pre-treatment engineering agreement with Bolton and Mink.
okay,
So that's what this applies to. And that fee was, I mean, it's not 3-some million, it's 800 and some thousand, I think.
okay, okay.
So this would be in addition to the 800 and some thousand.
Okay, but I guess my question is, can we expect,
Oh yeah, so that would be,
my question is, am I to expect an electrical engineer contract down the road too? That's not part of this?
that'd be a question for you, Greg.
Greg?
Yeah, electrical engineering is included in our contract.
That is there anything else that's not? I mean, I'm not trying
Could
to
be, I guess, soils investigation. That's typical. It's direct pay by city.
Yeah, we are.
Any special inspections, but those aren't not significant money.
right.
This is you can think of this as part of the cost of the treatment process itself, is provided by an outside manufacturer.
Okay,
This Evoqua ADI will provide the design detail for their process, and then they will actually provide the equipment, and they'll install the liner in the basin.
okay.
Do some of the installation work
Okay.
as part of the general contract.
Okay, and that's kind of how Doug Mazoon explained it to me, because I asked him these questions too, is that the whole process, or the whole purpose of this is to make sure their equipment fits the whole design, is that correct?
Yes, they'll design the layout of the equipment. We design the buildings that go around it,
Okay,
and all the details of the site arrangement.
okay.
But
All right,
what
well,
they'll do is design all the pieces of the equipment, size all that equipment, and provide us with drawings of the equipment layout, which we will then import into our CAD files for designing the building around the equipment and the electrical work and any support stuff that goes with it.
okay, Greg, I appreciate your making time to hop on the phone at the very last minute. I do appreciate
So
it.
in your mind, Greg, this, with the acceptance of this, all the engineering agreements should be in place for the projects?
Yeah. Again, there'll be some geotechnical soil boring work.
Yeah, I think I've already signed off on
That'll be fairly
that.
minor. Yeah, sorry, you did, Jason. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
You answered my questions, thanks, Greg.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Need me for anything else, Jason?
No.
Okay. So long, everybody.
Bye.
Motion to adopt Motion to approve an agreement for professional services, Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition City. Oops, I'm on the wrong one. My bad. I got all confused here. My bad.
Want me to take over?
Yep, take over.
Motion to approve an agreement for design engineering services for the anaerobic wastewater pretreatment system with the Evoqua with a not-to-exceed fee of $393,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving back up to D3. Or excuse me, 2. I'd already crossed that one off.
I threw.
D2, Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area Expansion and Urban Renewal Plan Amendment. At the October 15 meeting, this council approved the first reading of ordinance number 992, authorizing the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area, attached as an aerial and description of the area. Administration recommends council approval.
Jason, wasn't there a reason that we would encourage, if council wanted to approve the waiving third reading this time too? Wasn't there a deadline or something, yeah? Jason?
The assessor's office needed, it's a lot of work to do this, so they needed the time. The sooner they can get this, the better.
Okay.
As soon as they're done with the election.
We gave it my 2 weeks. I'm good.
Motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 992 for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Pick,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yep.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to waive the third reading of ordinance number 992 for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yep.
Bruns,
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 992 for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area on its second reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Wick.
Yes. Motion to adopt resolution number 992.
No, resolution.
2448. I'm sorry?
2448.
Thank you. 2448, authorizing internal advance of funding for the urban renewal project for the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area, Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition project.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes. Motion
Wick.
carried. Ooh, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah.
You can vote. Motion carried.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2448, authorizing internal advance of funding. 49. I'll catch up.
This is why you don't get to vote.
Internal advance of funding for the urban renewal project for the Lamar's Business Corridor Urban Renewal Area, Southview Industrial Park project.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Pick,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number D3, ISG Services Agreement, Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition City Rail Extension. Attached is the agreement with ISG to provide design, bid phase, and construction phase services for the Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition City Rail Extension. The rail currently ends north of 27th Street Southwest. The project will extend the rail across 27th Street Southwest and the entire 500-foot depth of Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition. Administration recommends council approval for the agreement. The $108,660 cost will be reimbursed through TIP.
Any questions? I think it's self-explanatory. So this will get it across 27th. It'll get it the depth of what is platted out there right now. There is interest in at least one lot with rail service currently. So serves a purpose, and our intent has really always been to extend that rail as far south as we can go. So this will get us in that first step. We may have to turn around depending on how quickly we develop further south. We may have to turn around quickly and start thinking about the rest of it too. So
How much is left? After the 500 feet?
we'll
That
shoot all
would
the
take
way
us to C38, right?
Yeah.
So, my question is, should we look into designing all the way? Now, you can't finish, but it's kind of like having shovel-ready lots. If you have a rail bed laid, I'm just asking if
Yeah.
it's cheaper to look into maybe extending this. Because the rail lot we have right now that's got interest, I thought was 2 lots. But, I mean, Mark,
I
you
think
got
it's one.
It's just one? Okay.
That may be a separate thing, Clark, because we'll have to lay out that entire, there's more to look at as we go further south.
Okay,
Not just the rail, but all our utilities, roadways.
okay.
So that's a little more in-depth. But I think that does need to be done sooner than later.
Okay. I just didn't know if they're on site doing it, if there was some preliminary layout.
I can start talking to them
that
about it.
could possibly be done. You know, it basically costs you the same to make one pie as it does two. I mean, so, okay, but I'm fine with it. I just was curious.
Yeah, I would suggest approve this, and then, I mean, it may not be very long when I'm coming back with another proposal.
Can you give me a visual, Mark, where this will end then, that 500 feet takes us to, compared to the west side of the road?
So,
Would be what's graded.
yeah, when you go out there looking south of 27th Street, have you been out to see what GCC is working on?
I have not.
Okay, if you go out there, you can see where it's graded. It'll go to the end of the grading.
Okay, right out in that.
Yeah.
That's our 500.
And you can see where the rail ends. It's just
Right.
going straight across the street and straight south.
All right.
Till the lot ends. And if you go out to 27th Street, you can sit there at the road and easily see where the track.
All right, that sounds good. I
Mark,
appreciate it.
while you're up there, in kind of going off of Clark's question about what would be fifth, do you see any future possibilities where that rail turns to the west and hooks back onto that main line?
There has been studies in the past.
I remember that was a discussion point 10 or 12 years ago when I was involved with LBIC through the chamber.
But
Just the ideas, and I don't know if it necessarily plays into what if Industrial Park 5, if it would change the design or thinking on that or not, but I think what Jason suggested, go through with what we have in front of us now and then kind of tackle that as we get a little further down the
Yeah,
road.
I think what
maybe?
you're thinking of, Brad, is years ago, JEO did a study where it actually showed it further south and then eventually tying back into
Right.
the main line.
The UP?
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible anymore. That's,
I just remember that there was some discussion, and again, I think it was just sort of conceptual that maybe down the road it might,
Yeah.
so I don't think it was any
With this- with
serious.
this-
South now, it would involve a bridge, right?
yeah.
Well,
It'll
certainly
cross the
would, yeah.
river.
That and
Yeah.
a bridge over the floor.
No, I know, it
with-
would be a huge deal, but it was,
With the future design of the industrial park, though, what we have to C38 may involve certain points where it's still going back to the west, but not crossing Lincoln or Lake.
okay.
I know Burlington Junction and CN and UP would all like it to hook back up at some point in time. It'd make life way easier for all of them, but
Yeah.
the cost would be way up there.
So I move to approve an agreement for professional services, Lamar's Industrial Park, 4th Edition City Rail Extension with ISG with a not to exceed fee of $108,660.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D4. Key Avenue and 24th Street Southwest traffic study results. Stanley Consultants, Inc. were hired to evaluate the intersection of Key Avenue and 24th Street Southwest for potential need for additional traffic control. The results of the study determined that the additional controls were not warranted at this time. The complete evaluation is attached. Administration recommends council accept the report and recommend no further action at this time.
Okay, so if you remember a little while back, we hired Stanley to do not only this study, but to also design the replacement of our traffic signals downtown. So they completed this. They did the traffic counts, compared it to the 2009 edition of the Municipal Utility Traffic CD. So there's certain criteria it should meet. It really didn't meet any of them at this time. So the last page of their report is their suggestion that it doesn't warrant anything to be done. So that's not to say something doesn't need to be done in the future. As we all know, if that intersection develops more traffic, then increased controls are going to happen. But just at this time, it's they say it's not warranted. So.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts on that, though. The line here talks about there were no pedestrians during the 24-hour study. Well, Plywood Trail's not open yet. You know, I think you're going to see more pedestrians next year, more bicycles, whatever. All right, and those folks cross two different directions. They have to cross from the, I get my directions all mixed up, the northeast corner to the northwest corner, and then down to the southwest corner, and then when they come back, they do the same thing. So there's a lot of really fast traffic going there. I know I've talked to people who say some of the trucks, when they're coming out of Love's and they want to turn to go south on the highway, you know, they have to time their shot. And it's just sketchy because of the traffic, the speed out there. I wish we'd have taken Brian's advice and not done this up to $6,800 study and just spent the $3,300 for the signs. But I, for one, still think we need to do it. And another of the criteria was there weren't enough accidents. Well, I don't want to wait till we have enough accidents, but I also don't want to put four-way stops everywhere. I just think this is one that really needs to be there. My personal thoughts, and I'll just leave it at that.
Any other discussion on this?
So you would like to see
I would like to see.
traffic control?
Yeah. And I guess weighing the pros versus cons, you know, who would be slowed down so much that they wouldn't like to see that there? I mean, that is such a horrible thing if that happened. You know, so we gain some safety, we gain some little more traffic control at a spot where it could have some potential to be really dangerous. And we might slow somebody down a few minutes. I think the trucks coming out of Love's might not care. They'd actually probably prefer it.
What are you looking for, yield sign?
No, I think we'd be looking at, there would be a stop sign on each intersection and then like a flashing lights. And you may have to have something further back that's another $490 that says, you know, stop ahead, that kind of deal.
That would certainly be a discussion off of this. I mean, we don't have to follow it, we can just accept it. That's my opinion, but I've got ears. I'm for safety, as long as it's within reason. That's my...
This study would have had had it come back saying it needed some sort of traffic control devices. This study would have helped to support any other types of reimbursement, either state or federal level. So by accepting this, we then bear whatever cost solely on the city would bear whatever cost. Was that part of my
Well, I don't
understanding?
think we're gonna get anything from the state or anybody anyway.
Okay.
I think it would explain why you did what you did in case somebody comes up and says, why'd you put a stop sign there? It's kind of a CYA for that. I don't think it had.
I didn't remember exactly. I thought that there was something that if the city came back and said that it needed to be done, that would be supporting documentation that we could get some additional funding for it. But maybe I obviously misunderstood that.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Or dreaming of something else.
Yeah, I understand your concerns, Mark, but also one of the other criteria is also takes into bike and pedestrian traffic, and it's out there, it's nowhere near it. Now, yes, the plywood trail will be open, but will it be up to 200 units per hour in an 8-hour period? Never, unless you're having some kind of big party out there. If you look at the numbers, the majority of that traffic is all turning traffic. It's either coming from the east and turning towards Love's, or coming from the east and then the next highest count is turning south. Okay, the other one is coming south on Key and turning left. There's very minimal, according to their numbers, very minimal traffic that continues straight west or continues from the west to the east. So it's a lot of turning traffic. So the confusion comes in if a driver does not use a turn signal. Well, is that vehicle turning or is it not turning? Then, I mean, you gotta wait to see what happens. So I agree with the study. You know, we look at it in the future, if stuff changes out there. We said that when Love's first went out there, is that we would have to monitor this intersection to see how traffic is. Well, this is our first review of how traffic is. So it's not to the point of warranting anything yet, other than what's out there.
And those are the numbers from this 24-hour study, one day out of the.
I know.
I'd be inclined to follow what Clark said. We approved